So Rick Ross was recently catching flack for a flying commercial, Frontier to be exact. And
it was Frontier.
It was Frontier.
It was Frontier. And he said that for the ones who want to know where my jet at, obviously didn't get the memo. It's being updated with Starlink.
Yeah.
And he said, you know what Starlink is? Yeah, that's the $500,000 Wi-Fi. Yeah, that's where my jet at. And I choose to fly commercial to go to Colombia to go party with Trick Daddy and Ball Greasy.
On Frontier though, fam. I was embarrassed to be on Frontier. I did a show in Atlanta, and a promoter put me on Frontier. I was like, dog, Frontier?
No, Frontier is terrible because you got to pay for water.
And
that's
listen,
the seat does not recline.
Is straight up.
You
are like straight back
the
the whole time. Frontier is terrible. Bottom tier airline. But I'm not mad at how disconnected are you to be mad at someone for flying commercial?
Yeah.
You know, a PJ cost. These people don't know how much flying private costs.
Yeah.
At bare minimum, a PJ costs probably one way 20 bands.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Bare minimum, and that's before the fuel prices went up. Now you gotta pay the pilot, you gotta pay the flight attendant, you gotta pay for the fuel, you gotta pay for their hotel stays because the pilot and the flight attendant gotta go with you and stay in that same place as you. Like, it's 20 bands, minimum.
That's bare minimum.
Minimum.
Yeah, it's more like 40, especially
you know what I'm saying?
G550.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And also, depends on
you live
how
on a
far
private
you're
jet.
going.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
I've been on one, and I was like, how much does this cost?
Messed up. I told you I'm running for office.
It's okay if you was invited over. You didn't charter it yourself, so it's okay. You know,
my opponent gonna use this against me.
Your PJs and all that.
I think it's crazy, yo. I think it's crazy that a community that still needs resources to survive and, you know, are living, you know, with substandard conditions across the board, we care about this other than it goes back to what I'm saying about what news is. Like, it's the new definition of news.
Yeah.
Like, Rick Ross flew commercial to Colombia.
Big deal.
Now, I don't like Frontier either. Let me be clear.
That's what I think it was.
I don't do Frontier.
Yeah.
So that's what she said. I was like, oh, Frontier, I may have to get in this. But listen, we could only hope each and every one of us to have the life that we can provide for ourselves where we can travel. Travel is a luxury. That is not a necessity.
Oh, for sure.
I know people, I swear to God, ain't leave the 5 boroughs and they my age, right? So God bless them for being able to, you know, afford to travel and whatnot. But also it's like, it speaks to the consumerist nature of hip hop. Because hip hop is so hardy when it comes to consumerism. Yo, I got this. It becomes a battle that when you're doing something that's still in the range of luxury, like going to Colombia is a luxury, you get chided for it because you flew commercial. That just shows you how f***ed up hip hop is at this point.
And mind you, people talking they probably ain't even been to Colombia.
Yeah,
and no funds to get over there.
Right? Have you been to Colombia? But so it's this like very braggadocious, very hyper masculine, you know, thing, very consumerist thing that they get caught up in, and so now they got to uphold that, and that is dangerous because at the end of the day, what the goal is when you talk about Black celebrity and Black success through celebrity and athleticism, they want to wipe the money away from these cats. They don't want these cats to leave the game with any money, right? Be it through arrest and conviction, be it through tax liabilities, you ain't paying your taxes, or you just pissing off money, right? Like, that's the goal. Unfortunately, the system wants you to leave the game how you came into the game, which is broke. I used to be the GM for Milk River. And
I remember.
At Milk River, So at Milk River,
beautiful venue
got
that
sick.
closed.
It was an amazing venue. We did amazing things over the time that I was there. But it became very sickening to see our young Black men spending thousands and thousands of dollars on bottles every day. And like, you kind of get glazed over it, right? Because you go to clubs too, and you know, I've got sections and bought bottles as well. But it's one thing to do it occasionally. It's another thing to see. To be sitting in a club and seeing tens of thousands of dollars being extracted from your community over shit that you're going to piss out the next day.
I never understood that.
And so, you know, hip hop feeds this consumerist market where we actually think it makes sense to talk about this cat flying commercial. Right. But also they live in a system that's highly volatile to them.
Of course.
Where if you're not careful, you're really 1 or 2 years away from falling back into poverty.
Yeah.
And after having riches, like if you look at Adrian Bronner,
Sad.
what he's going through, that's a very
Sad.
sad situation. You know what I'm saying? And it's still
It's
being marketed for
embarrassing.
likes and
Of
clicks.
course.
But it's very sad. So I'm actually proud of Rick, man. Fly Frontier, bro.
Well, let me
Like,
ask
fly,
y'all
man.
this.
Fly,
Let me
what's
do
the other
y'all
one?
think?
Spirit, Fly Spirit.
At least, listen, I'm
Spirit's gone
saying,
now, so.
I think it was a big deal too. People looking at it because of the airline too. It was Frontier.
Yeah.
When I flew Frontier, man, the pilot ain't even have on a uniform. He had on
Right.
basketball shorts and a white tee.
Right.
I'm like, you the pilot? You know what I mean? He
Right.
said, yeah, I got you, shorty. I said,
Right.
what the hell
You
is
gonna
going
get there
on?
in one
fam?
piece. Look, don't worry about what I got on.
Right.
You gonna
Come
get
on.
there.
Yeah, Frontier
Honestly,
is
though,
crazy.
I think but to speak to that though, when you fly Frontier, you got somewhere to go because that's
Oh,
never
yeah.
anyone's
That's
first
never
choice.
love
Yeah,
it.
not at all.
That was probably the only flight that he could get that was good for his schedule. So he was like, "Fuck it, I'm getting on Frontier." Because when you fly Frontier, I flew on Frontier once. I had somewhere to be,
Yeah.
and Frontier was the
Yeah.
only flight that I could
Got
take that's
you.
gonna get me there in that time frame.
Yeah.
And so, hey,
There's a couple things I don't do. I don't like layovers. So I
Me
really,
neither.
when I
Yes.
book, I try very
Hate a layover.
hard to not
Need a
have a
straight
layover.
flight.
Yeah.
And I don't fly airlines. I'm 6'4". I need space,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
So you're absolutely right. If I'm flying Frontier, you guarantee I got to be
Yes.
somewhere. Because I done gave up a lot of my creature comforts to even be on this plane.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
But I
Fair enough.
think that with the whole Rick Ross thing, another thing is Rick Ross is one of those rappers that's always talking about, hey, I'm the biggest. Right now he
Yeah.
call himself both
Right.
biggest of all time.
Mhm.
Always talking about money. You know, making fun of other rappers saying they broke, showing off his houses and cars.
Yeah.
So if you the biggest, why you flying Frontier?
Yeah,
So
but that's
people
the
gonna
brand.
eat that
That's
up.
the brand.
Yeah, people
He's,
gonna-
Rick Ross is fat. Everything gotta be big. Like that's the brand. You know what I'm saying? But when the cameras are off and I'm trying to get somewhere to go hang out with my nigga, if I gotta get on Frontier, I'm gonna get on Frontier.
Right.
Yeah.
Mind y'all business.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I'm like,
I wonder the person that caught that picture, I wonder if they got paid. And the reason why I asked that, because I remember paparazzi days. So does paparazzi even exist anymore
Of
in the way?
course.
Because now
Barely.
everybody has a phone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not
Everybody
like
has
how it
content.
used to,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
but it
how it
still
used to.
exists.
But so years back, I used to work at a spot where Madonna used to live across the street,
Mm.
right? And so whenever Madonna was in town, a whole group of paparazzi would like hang out in front of my building, and they're waiting for her to come out so they take pictures. And I had a conversation with the dude one time, and he was like, "Nah, we get real money for these pictures." Like he
Yeah.
told me about a picture that he got like $750,000 for that he
Yeah.
had caught.
mhm.
I wonder if the person that took that picture of Rick Ross, did they post it and they ain't get no money
They
for
probably
it?
ain't get no money
Or
for
did
it.
they sell it to like a TMZ
Hope
or
they
something
sold
for
it.
some chicken? Because like that, it went viral and it's on now. It created an entire firestorm. I don't want, what I'm saying is, I want my paparazzi and my cameramen not to be exploited. So whoever took that picture, they need to get a little chicken for that
Right.
because they created a very viral
of
moment.
course,
You know what I'm
of course,
saying?
definitely.
They probably didn't, honestly. I don't
Yeah,
know.
they ain't getting no money. They posted it on their
Yeah.
Facebook. or
Because
their
they
IG.
want to be, and
they wanna
like you
be
said
like,
earlier,
want
we
that light.
likes
Yeah,
and going
it's the
Well,
viral.
remember,
energy.
currency
Yeah.
now
The
is no
energy.
longer only money. It's
That's
the
what she said. That's what it is.
yeah,
It's
it's
energy.
the
Yeah,
likes,
yeah,
the
it's
shares, comments. You know, they want the exposure.
They want
so.
the exposure.
Indeed.
Shame on that, man. You could have got some chicken for that. That was
Yeah.
that was
But-
one of them pictures.